Okay, we are entering phase 3 of the alpha build, and Blizzard has just pushed out the most recent build. And as I'm looking right now, it looks like we are getting all of the notes. So I was going to record this video without notes, so if they do pop up with all of the tank changes, I will go over those. If I don't go over them in this video, it's because they're not available yet. But I wanted to talk about some fairly noticeable changes on the latest build of Alpha because we got a lot of different tank Apex talents, which are obviously kind of the foundation, at least how I see it is, it's the foundation of how Blizzard wants you to play the class and spec. Chances are, because they are the newest thing being introduced in this expansion, they probably want them to be strong. And so we're going to start off with the Demon Hunter. They've also added Guardian Druid. They've added Prot Warrior, and I believe I haven't talked about the Paladin one yet. The Paladin one was put in last week, but I didn't do anything about it, so we'll do that in this video as well. Blood Death Knight and Brewmaster have had their Apex talents in, so I probably won't spend any time in this video going over them. We're just going to specifically look at VDH and, well, all of the other tanks. So, starting off, we have Untethered Rage. Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb has a chance per soul fragment consumed to grant Untethered Rage, allowing Metamorphosis to be cast without incurring its cooldown, lasting 10 seconds. There was a lot of concern about VDH losing their basically Fell Devastation proc of meta after completing the cast. Obviously, major cause for concern, having less meta uptime is a pretty big loss for the VDH tank. You want to be in Metamorphosis as much as possible. It gives you a bunch of armor, gives you soul frag generation. It's kind of the cornerstone of the class, being a giant demon. And so this replaces it, essentially, in a different way. And so we don't know the exact numbers on this yet, how the chance per fragment, they don't state it here, it just has a chance, but let's keep reading through these Apex talents. Untethered Rage, the 2-point node, which isn't the capstone. Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb can consume an additional soul fragment and deal an additional 10% damage for each one consumed. Now, at 1 point it's 5% damage, at 2 points it's 10, just want to make that clear. Also, it's a little weird because if I'm not mistaken, soul fragments are capped at 5. I don't know if this increases the cap. Maybe they changed it. Maybe that's something that I just wasn't aware of. But we'll test that here in a second. And then we have Untethered Rage, like the capstone. Each cast of Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb that does not grant Untethered Rage instead applies a stack of Seething Anger. Seething Anger grants 1% agility and a chance, increased chance to proc Untethered Rage. Last 12 seconds cannot be refreshed after gaining it. Let's first off, I haven't even seen if this works. Alpha just came up a couple minutes ago and I was prepping to get this video. Okay, so we're in Stormwind, probably not the best place to test this. As we hit these, as we kind of hit our builders and our spenders, I am waiting for this here. So here's Seething Anger, the actual thing. It's a little weird because all of the names of all the abilities are the same. Okay, so here's the proc. So right now it says I have 2 stacks of meta, and so once I cast meta, it's not going to incur the cooldown. So even if it's available, it looks like meta being available as a cooldown, it won't actually consume it, which I think is pretty good, right? Okay, so then once we gained it, we lose the Seething Anger agility buff. So it's like just ramping agility, which I think is actually, isn't that kind of crazy strong? So last time I think I hit 10 or 11. No, did I hit 10 or 11? Obviously, I'm not doing a super fleshed out rotation. It's every time you cast the ability when it consumes fragments. So it's not per fragment consumed. So we're at 10%, 11, 12. Again, I don't know what the chance to proc it is. So here it is. I now have it. Bang. And we just start firing. And so yeah, having 12% agility in meta is actually not terrible. Obviously it takes a little bit of time to get to, but not bad. There is potential synergy with this, with Voidfall, or with the Annihilator hero talent, that when it does eventually proc, you automatically gain the stacks of Meteoric Fall, which is obviously the big meteors that kind of rain down, which is a lot of burst damage. So this is actually pretty, this could potentially be super insane. I should maybe actually try to focus on a rotation. So it's consistent around the 10 to 12 stack mark. And so we pop meta and yeah, we just start calling down meteors. And then the game DC's server side, maybe? Super fun, dude. Yep, cool. And then everything just happens all at the same time. Cool. So yeah, I think as first, without going into the nitty gritty stuff, kind of a banger Apex talent, right? I'm a little concerned with like the RNG. You know, you could kind of maybe high roll stacks in a way. Like when you do happen to proc the free meta, it's going to lead into more damage from Annihilator. I'm not going to look at Eldraki Reaver right now because this still says the Hunt, which the Hunt doesn't exist anymore for us. So unless you're playing the full tree, you're not like you have a chance to not proc it as often as maybe someone else who just gets lucky. But when you are playing the capstone, even though you don't proc it, maybe it goes all the way to like 13 or 14 stacks, you then have more agility to work with when you do inevitably when you get meta. So I think this is actually pretty good. Let me know your thoughts down below. So it looks like as I was talking, they have published the data mined changes. So let's go over that, maybe. Never mind. I don't know how... This seems like it's missing stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna... we won't go over these notes. These notes are a little bit more difficult to decipher. Anyways, Guardian Druid. New hero talents. We have Wild Guardian. After Berserk or Incarnation ends, you gain access to Wild Guardian. This is going to be an on-use that essentially converts Incarn and Berserk to this button when it ends, so you can use it at your discretion. Spirits of the Wild come to your aid, causing your next two casts of Ironfur, Maul, and Frenzied Regen to be echoed at 50% effectiveness. Then, as you rank it up, you're going to gain 3% additional mastery, and Wild Guardians echoes your ability at 100% effectiveness, and then the second point is 6% mastery at 150% effectiveness, and then the final capstone, Wild Guardians echoes of your abilities are empowered with additional effects. So Ironfur is now going to absorb damage. It's small absorb. Frenzied Regen is going to grant you DOC, Dream of Cenarius, which is a free regrowth that is castable in any form. So you could cast it in bear form on yourself or on your allies. And then Maul deals 50% additional nature damage over 12 seconds. So let's see how this plays out. So I've actually already looked at this a little bit. I've at least tested it once. So we're going to pop Incarn. It's going to take some time. Can I just remove it? So when it removes, you're going to see now that Wild Guardian is now an ability on my bar, sharing that same spot with Incarnation. So when you pop it, you now have 1 minute buffs for Gift of Ironfur, Gift of Maul, and Gift of Frenzied Regeneration. So let's hit Frenzied Regen. It's now going to proc my Dream of Cenarius. So now I have the Dream of Cenarius buff, so I can pop that on myself, and we're good. We got our shit. And it's going to echo a Frenzied Regen, so it's going to heal a little bit more. If I hit Raise, it's going to then apply this Vicious Brambles to the target. At least I'm assuming that's what this is, which is going to do nature damage. And it's going to consume one of those stacks. So now I can hit Ironfur, and I'm not only going to gain Ironfur, but it's also going to absorb the next 4,000 give or take damage that I'm taking. And so you have a minute to use these. So you're not really in a rush to hit Ironfur or Frenzied Regen or Maul, but you want to hit it within the minute. With the cooldown reduction of Ursoc's Guidance, you're generally looking at roughly a 2-minute cooldown for Incarnation, down from its 3. If you're not playing this and you're playing Convoke instead, your Berserk is going to be a 3-minute CD, so it makes the Apex talent a little bit weaker. In terms of pure numbers and tuning, it looks like the 3,000 damage is going to be kind of small, but I'm also sitting at level 83 only. I'm not max level yet. I also don't know if it's going to, I'm assuming it's going to scale with like a main stat, maybe mastery and attack power, but 3,700 out of 200k is kind of a pretty small number. Like you get that twice, so 10k, so it's like, what, a 5% like health absorb every 2 minutes. So I don't want to look at tuning like that right now. I'm not sure how I feel about this Apex talent. It's fine having things happen when a cooldown ends, but with Incarn being 30-second, okay, Incarn specifically being 30 seconds, Berserk is obviously 15, but you hit the button and then I don't know, like maybe you get into the rhythm of it, but it's like 30 seconds, man. Like waiting for that to end kind of sucks. I think having it echoes like definitely fine. 150% effectiveness is pretty beefy, but it feels like it leans a little bit more into Druid of the Claw. Again, this is like all speculatory. Is that a word? It's all speculation. I like how Druid of the Claw is feeling a little bit more. Obviously, I feel like the tree leans into it. But yeah, things like Raise and like Ravage being echoed at 150% effectiveness and dealing its damage over time seems really good. In my, like, just, like, that's so much damage for a single global, right? Like, you're hitting it up front, and then it's also echoing and it's leaving a dot, which I think is pretty sick. So that's the Guardian Druid Apex talent. I think it's pretty good. I think this is worse, though, thematically and how it interacts with the class than like VDH and even like things like Brewmaster and other tanks. So let me know what you think. Let's move on to the next tank, though. The general... so testing has been available in the raid, which would scale you up to level 90. They actually removed the raid person from the raid, and all my tanks and characters that were in the raid have been kicked out. So I don't know if we can currently go into that zone. So that is why I'm looking at this at level 83 instead of at level 90, just for context. But it doesn't prevent us from looking at the hero talents. So I've already logged on to Warrior to look at the hero talents. As a lot of you may know, I'm pretty down bad about Warrior. It's in a very weakened state. Now, we don't know hero talents yet. They could obviously still make changes and buffs. It's early alpha, but it feels like a shell of what it is currently on live and has. I feel like they ripped out the core fundamental aspects of Protection Warrior, which is just like big DR, big cooldown reduction, and trying to be an avatar as much as possible. The Apex talents do nothing to fix that. The first thing that I was reminded of is the Dragonflight tier sets that cause your shield slams to like send out shockwave. So that's what it is. It's called phalanx, flanks, however you want to say it. Shield slam critical strikes unleash a wave of force, dealing fizz dam to all enemies in front of you and reducing the damage they deal to you by 5% for 5 seconds. Extremely reminiscent of, I don't even remember what the tier set was called, but it was the tier set from, can I look? Item sets, Dragonflight. I don't think it's going to show. Anyways, I think it's pretty much the same thing that I did in Dragonflight, where your shield slams did a frontal. The 2-point node is damage dealt by Thunderclap, and the phalanx wave of force is increased by 10%. So you're getting basically a little AoE, a little bit DR, and Thunderclap is now going to do a little bit more damage, which, yay. And then the capstone is, while shield block is active, shield slam deals 10% additional damage and has a 20% increased chance to critically strike. I'm level 83. Obviously, and I'm in full greens, and I don't have like tier sets, which were announced as well, which I'll do a separate video about. So my crit's only 24%. My stats are kind of all over the place. Honestly, I have no haste. Okay. Cool. I have no haste on my gear. So yeah, let's see what this shockwave looks like. Can I even... I guess these are probably the better dummies to test on. So you can see like that little shockwave effect. I'm actually surprised it was the very first thing. Oh, and then I DC server side again. Cool. One day. Okay, cool. Maybe not. Maybe we're not back yet. Please. Let me play the game. Okay. So you're obviously going to be incentivized to keep shield block up, which is normal. And you should be able to have, with actual haste, you should be able to have like decent uptime on it. I don't know. So this plus 20, so like I have a 40-ish% chance for shield slam to critically strike off the top of my head. So you're seeing this like kind of like little shockwave animation, which this has got to be probably the most boring Apex talent, right? Like, am I crazy? Like, this has just got to be terrible. I thought there were additional things in our tree that gave shield slam increased crit chance, but maybe I'm just crazy. But yeah, keep up shield block. You get a little bit of an AoE. Your filler / thunderclap does a little bit more damage. I'm not thrilled about how the tank is playing right now. I was hoping that the Apex talents would be a little bit more interactive with something like with Avatar. We still don't know the hero talents yet. They haven't been implemented. But as I've previously stated in other videos, Avatar just feels so bad right now. You have a lot less uptime because of the change to anger management. And we lost the capstones for Avatar. So it's like when you pop Avatar, outside of getting a little bit bigger and doing more damage, you're not gaining anything. Like you can't thunderclap faster. You're not gaining shield wall. And so these two things just feel, it makes Avatar just feel kind of poopy, in my opinion. And it's like, it's now like a 45-second to a minute cooldown, where it currently on live is like sub 45 seconds, sometimes even like 30 seconds, depending. Not 30, but pretty low. So yeah, that's the Prot Warrior hero talent, Fooey. So I don't believe I've talked about Protection Paladin hero talents. I'm going to do that now. These were implemented, I believe, last week. So this isn't like new news. It's just just news. Do I even have... Okay, yeah. So the hero talent for protection is Glory of the Vanguard. Judgment has a chance to grant you Vanguard, causing your next Avenger shield to leave an echoing bolt of light in a line between you and your initial target, piercing enemy struck, dealing up to 557 holy damage. The 2-point node is going to be Judgment deals 10% more damage, and when you consume Vanguard, you gain a holy power. So I'm assuming whenever you do, it essentially is making it so your Avenger shield has a chance to feel like it used to and give you big holy power. Now the 2-point node goes from 1 to 3, so the 2-point node actually has a lot of value here. And then finally the capstone, your next cast of Shield of the Righteous after Vanguard deals 20% additional damage to your primary target and causes light to refract onto other 4 targets, doing big damage. During Avenging Wrath, your Avenger shield always benefits from Vanguard. Kind of wild. So I'm going to attempt to apply these talents. Hopefully the server doesn't lag out, and we'll go do a little bit of testing. I don't know why it's not letting me change it. Oh, maybe there? There we go. Okay. Giant freaking combat log. I think this hero talent is actually like pretty fucking sick. And so here is that Vanguard proc. So you're going to see that Avenger Shield's going to light up. It lasts for about 20 seconds. And then when I chuck my shield, it's going to give me 3 holy power, and you're going to see that like little blast wave come out. And now my next Shield of the Righteous is going to deal big dam, and you're going to see like the little rays come out. I don't know the chance to actually proc the Vanguard, so that was my 4th Judgment cast, 5 Judgment cast. I'm waiting for it to proc again. So here it is. After like 6 or 7 Judgments, it procs again. When we hit the shield, you're going to see that ray of light shoot out. Now, my concern is like positioning. Like if you're targeting this mob, for example, it's now like, well, is my thing gonna, it's not gonna hit this mob over here. So now I always want to be targeting the thing that's the furthest from me to do damage. But I don't know if it really matters. I feel like it's a kind of a small value. But the holy power generation all of a sudden starts to feel really good when you start to get these Vanguard procs, because not only are you getting Avenger Shield resets pretty consistently, but not only is it giving you 1 holy power like it used to way back in the day. I think in Shadowlands was the last time I did that. But now it's going to give you 3 holy power. So now you can pretty much go like Avenger Shield into Shield of Righteous. Avenger Shield is obviously it's contingent on resets, but I think that feels pretty damn good. Now it looks like I am accumulating them more than I'm able to spend them, which is obviously slightly problematic. Now this will obviously change in a Mythic Plus environment or any environment where you're taking damage because it's going to be resetting. I've currently gone up to 4. I don't know how high the stacks can go. Actually, it just consumed all of them right when I sent my Avenger Shield. So, yeah, it's a pretty. We're DC'd. My hammers are spinning forever. Essentially, though, I think Glory the Vanguard is very thematic on kind of an older style of protection, moving away from Consecration really being a larger element of your rotation and mitigation kit, and focusing it more on just holy power generation and using like Shield of the Righteous, I think is just a much healthier playstyle. Obviously, we have to test it at endgame content. Plus, we have to, which I haven't looked at yet, but supposedly we have tier sets now. That kind of stuff I'm going to talk about in a future video. But there's a lot of things that how the class feels is going to be very contingent on. But yeah, those are the 4 new hero talents that we have seen from last week and this week in this build. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.